In this video, we would be introducing you to cloud computing, Azure, and Azure Machine Learning. We will start by exploring the basics of cloud computing, including its advantages and disadvantages, followed by an overview of the different types of cloud computing. From there, we'll dive into Azure Cloud Service Platform, getting a deep understanding of its capabilities. Next, we'll focus on Azure Machine Learning, where we would introduce the Azure Machine Learning Studio. We would discuss its benefits and provide an overview of how it empowers you to build, train, and deploy machine learning models efficiently. Whether you are new to these concepts or seeking to enhance your knowledge, this session is made to equip you with clear insights and practical skills to excel in Azure Cloud Platform. Let's jump right in and learn.
Hello and welcome. My name is Mudathir Salahuddin. I am a data engineer and I'm excited to teach and guide you through to this course. In this video, we'll be introducing you to cloud computing, Azure and Azure Machine Learning. We'll start by exploring the basics of cloud computing, including its advantages and disadvantages, followed by an overview of the different types of cloud computing. From there, we'll dive into Azure Cloud Service Platform, getting a deep understanding of its capabilities. Next, we'll focus on Azure Machine Learning, where we'll introduce Azure Machine Learning Studio. We'll discuss its benefits and would also provide an overview of how it empowers you to build, train, and deploy machine learning models efficiently. So whether you are new to these concepts or you're seeking to advance your knowledge, this session is designed to equip you with clear insights and practical skills to get started on Azure Cloud Platform. So let's jump right in and learn. Cloud computing. Let's start by asking ourselves a few questions. Have you ever thought about how you keep all your pictures, videos, and files safe online? Where are they stored? Or you've wondered how businesses keep their websites running smoothly, even when millions of people visit at the same time? Take example, Jumia. They have more sales towards the end of the year because of Black Friday sales, right? What happens when millions of people go onto the website at the same time? Why does it not crash? These are questions we have. Cloud computing. Cloud computing is the practice of using remote online servers rather than local servers or personal computers, just like we give example of storing your pictures on the cloud, right? To store, manage, and process data. Alright, so let's think about this for a moment. Imagine you're on a trip and you've taken a ton of pictures with your phone. Suddenly you run out of space. Okay, what do? Instead of deleting those pictures, you might decide that, oh, let me upload them on a Google Drive or possibly on my Apple iCloud. Is that right? So that way your pictures are safe, one, and you can access them anytime, anywhere, and from any device. That's the basic idea of cloud computing. Instead of relying on your device's storage, you are now using someone else's bigger and more powerful storage, in this case, servers located somewhere in the world, to hold your data. So in simple terms, cloud computing is like renting a space and power from supercomputers across the internet to do what? To store, manage, and to process your data. Cloud computing offers some advantages and disadvantages. The first advantage of using cloud computing is scalability. It allows you to scale up resources or scale down resources easily. So imagine you're hosting a party, okay? If only a few friends turn up, you just need a small space. But if a whole crowd arrives unexpectedly, what happens? You would need to quickly move to a bigger venue. So cloud computing is like that. Very flexible venue. If your needs grows, then you can instantly scale up. However, if your needs shrink, you scale back down. So this means no wasted space or money. 2, cost effectiveness. You only pay for what you use. Speaking of money, with cloud computing, it's like paying only for the electricity you use rather than buying a generator. There's no need to invest in expensive servers or IT infrastructure. You only pay for what you actually use, whether it's storage, possibly your computing power or other services. And lastly, we have flexibility. Cloud computing allows you to adapt to changing needs quickly. Life and business are unpredictable, okay? And cloud computing lets you adapt quickly. You need to try out a new tool, or possibly you want to adjust to a sudden change in demand, then there's no problem. The cloud makes it easy to pivot without getting bogged down by hardware limitations. Apart from the advantages of cloud computing, it also poses some disadvantages. Number one, cost management complexity. While the pay-as-you-go model of cloud computing is great, it can backfire if you're not careful. Imagine leaving the lights on every room in your house. Those small costs can add up quickly, and without proper monitoring, you might face unexpected bills, especially if you accidentally use more resources than planned. 2. Downtime risks. Service outage can disrupt access and operations. The cloud relies on internet connectivity and the provider's infrastructure as well. So if their servers, that means the cloud service providers, go down or there's a network issue, it's like power going out in your house. Total blackout. You are left in the dark without the service being restored. So for businesses, this can mean lost productivity and also unhappy customers. It means your website is down when people need to possibly order for products or possibly request for a service. This definitely would lead to unhappy customers. And lastly, we have vendor lock-in. So vendor lock-in means ability to switch from one service provider to another service provider becomes really challenging. So it's like you build a house, right, on a rented land, and then let's say you want to move, but taking your house with you is almost impossible. That's vendor lock-in in simple terms. Once you've built your system on one provider's platform, switching to another can be costly, time-consuming, and technically challenging. However, to avoid this, it's best to design your systems so they can work with any cloud service provider, making it easier to switch if needed. Now let's look at the types of cloud computing. How many types of cloud computing do we have? Do we even have types? Let's look into that. So we have 3 types of cloud computing. Number 1, we have the public cloud. Number 2, private cloud. And thirdly, we have hybrid cloud. So what's public cloud? Let's start with public cloud. In public cloud, resources are shared and available to everyone. There are resources, they are being shared, and they are available to everyone. It's like renting an apartment in a big complex. If you rent an apartment in a big complex, it means possibly the big complex has 100 rooms. You are only occupying 1 room. Okay, there are 99 other people that are also using the same infrastructure. That's exactly what public cloud is about. It's cost effective and great for startups or businesses that don't need full control over the infrastructure. But remember, because it's shared, there is less customization and security compared to other options. Examples of this are Azure Cloud Platform, IBM Cloud Platform, Google Cloud, AWS, and Oracle. Then we have the private cloud. With private cloud, you have dedicated resources to one organization. Now imagine owning your own house. You own your own house. What does that mean? It means you're in full control of the space and no one else can use it unless you allow them to. So a private cloud works the very same way. It's dedicated to just one organization. Hence, it's ideal for businesses that handle sensitive data or have strict compliance requirements. Examples of this types of businesses could be banks or possibly hospitals. However, it's more expensive because you are responsible for maintaining your own infrastructure. You are responsible for power, responsible for internet connectivity, responsible to provide security measures to ensure that no resource, no infrastructure is either stolen or spoiled, no cable is cut, and things like that. Thirdly, we have hybrid cloud. From the word hybrid, it's a mix of public cloud and private cloud. It's like having a vacation home. Okay, you have your main house, that's a private cloud for regular needs, but when you need extra space or flexibility, then you use your vacation home, that's your public cloud. So a hybrid cloud combines both public and private clouds, allowing businesses to keep sensitive data secure while taking advantage of the scalability and cost saving of the public cloud. For example, you might use a private cloud for storing customer information, which is sensitive, and then you use a public cloud for handling large-scale traffic during a product launch. And then that brings us to cloud service providers. What are cloud service providers? Companies that offer cloud computing services to organizations are called cloud service providers. Examples are IBM Cloud, Oracle, AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure. So far, we've learnt about cloud computing and we've seen the advantages and the disadvantages of cloud computing. We've also explored the different cloud service providers we have today, some of which include AWS, Google Cloud, Oracle, IBM Cloud, and Azure. In this series, we're going to be focusing on Azure, where we're going to look at Azure in general, the different services that Azure offers, and we're going to specifically deep dive into Azure Machine Learning Service, learning to build, train, and also test machine learning models on the cloud platform. What is Azure? Azure is a cloud service platform that allows users to build, test, deploy, and also manage applications and services via the internet. So it's a powerful cloud service platform that enables users to build, allows you to test, deploy, and also to manage applications through the internet. Since its launch on February 1st, 2010, Azure has evolved into a cornerstone of modern technology infrastructure, serving organizations across the globe. Today, Azure is recognized as the second largest cloud service provider, trusted by businesses of all sizes for its reliability, its scalability, and also Azure's versatility. One of its standard features is its global presence. Azure has data centers located in over 60 regions worldwide. This vast network ensures low latency, enhanced performance, and compliance with regional data regulations. Azure's impact is also evident in the corporate world, where it's the most preferred cloud platform for over 80% of Fortune 500 companies. So these organizations rely on Azure for critical operations, from running enterprise applications to managing advanced AI workloads. So its broad range of services and seamless integration with Microsoft tools makes it a top choice for companies looking to innovate and scale up. Now let's look at the services offered by Azure. Azure services can be categorized into different blocks. We have services that fall under storage. We have those that fall under data integration and management. We have those that we can categorize under compute services. We also have services under AI and machine learning. Okay. We also have those that can be categorized into security and networking. But in this video, we're going to be focusing on these four categories. Let's explore the four categories. So starting with Azure Storage Service. What is Azure Storage Service? Azure Storage Service ensures that your data is always accessible, it's secure, and it's scalable. The first service is the Azure Storage Account. What's the Azure Storage Account? An Azure Storage Account is an account that allows you to store, manage different kinds of data in the cloud. It's easy to adjust its size depending on how much data you need. The more data you need, the more you can expand. Your storage account expands, because Azure is a pay-as-you-go service. So when you're working on machine learning projects, you would often store your data and model outputs in the Azure account. This service is essential when you need to keep everything safe and easily accessible. So all data stored on Azure Storage Account can also be accessible by every other service that is offered by Azure. We also have the Azure Blob Storage. The blob storage is great for storing large files, especially if they don't fit neatly into tables. So if those files are like images, or you have videos, possibly you are working with a CNN, and then you have to deploy models that are going to interact with images and videos, then you store these images into blobs. So they are called blobs. So you store them into blobs, and that's why it's called a blob storage. If your machine learning project involves images, just like I said, then definitely you have to store them inside your blob storage. It makes managing large data sets easy. We have also the Azure file. Azure Files lets you store and share files between different machines in the cloud. You can use it to share documents or other data within your organization. So while this service is useful for many tasks, it's not directly used for machine learning. However, you can still have it come handy for sharing files and collaborating with others when you're working on your machine learning project. Then we have the Data Integration and Management Service. With the Data Integration and Management Service, these are tools that enable seamless data movement, data governance, and insights generation, empowering businesses to make informed decisions with a unified view of their data. From the word data integration and management, ensuring that data that is stored in different locations are well integrated, they are brought into one place and they are managed properly. Okay, I have data in a MongoDB, I have in a PostgreSDB, I also have data that I'm getting from an API. Getting all these different data sets together and managing those data sets, this category entails those services. So what services fall under this category? When I have data in different aspects, I have an organization that collects data from, okay, they do survey, then they submit the data in CSV, then there's a data that we're pulling possibly from an online source which is going to complement the data we've collected from the survey, then there's another data that is being sent to us via email. All these several data sources, if you want to get them all together, manage them together, and use them possibly for a machine learning project, then you use the Data Integration and Management Service. Number one service we have on this list is the Azure Data Factory. What's the Azure Data Factory? Azure Data Factory is designed for moving and transforming data. It's really helpful when your data is scattered across different locations, just like I mentioned. Data Factory can bring all those data all together into one place, ensuring that the data is ready for analysis or for machine learning. It also allows you to create different pipelines. You can create ETL pipelines, extract, you transform, and you load. As the data is coming, you want the data to be cleaned, you want to remove some columns. Azure Data Factory allows you to do that. It also allows you to automate that process. So possibly you just set a trigger. I want Azure Data Factory, when data comes in from different sources, I want you to clean them and then send them back to an SQL database, for example. So every time data drops in, it automatically picks up. We're going to see more about on Data Factory as we move on during this course. So when you need to clean and prepare data for your model, Data Factory makes this process smooth and also efficient. Next, we have the SQL database. I just mentioned that you could possibly clean all your data set on Azure Data Factory, also run your pipeline, automate the pipeline such that the clean data sets, all the different data sources are brought together. They are cleaned, and then the cleaned version is sent somewhere. I said it could be sent to an Azure SQL database. So an Azure SQL database is also the same, or is synonymous to your SQL database that you use on your computer, that you use offline. It's a cloud version of the familiar database software that stores structured data. What are structured data? Structured data are data that involves columns like the names, you have attributes like the dates, you have numbers. These are structured data. These are names of people. These are dates when particular transactions happen. These are possibly phone numbers. These are serial numbers. These are structured data. Then this structured data can be stored on an SQL database, and you can decide to go with a cloud version, and that's where we have the Azure SQL database. If your machine learning model needs to work with structured data, SQL database is a great option. I'm running a machine learning model. I'm running a machine learning project. My machine learning project needs access to a structured data. My structured data can be stored where? It can be stored on an Azure SQL database, and I can just easily link my model to the data. Hello machine learning model, I want you to pick your input from an SQL database, and there you go. So the SQL database is a great option, right? You use it to store things like user data, product information, or any other data that needs to be well organized. Thirdly, we have Azure Synapse Analytics. The Synapse Analytics is built for large-scale data analysis. So you have data analysis. When you deal with big data, then you talk Synapse Analytics. When you deal with smaller data, then you deal with SQL databases. Okay. Synapse Analytics is built for large-scale data analysis. If your machine learning project needs to work with huge data sets, this service can help you manage and analyze that data faster. It's ideal for gathering insight from large volumes of data, especially before feeding it into a machine learning model. My data is small, I can use my SQL database. I only use Azure Synapse Analytics when I'm dealing with large data sets. Then we have our compute services, which are the processing. They are the processing aspect of Azure. We have the Azure Virtual Machine. So the Azure Virtual Machine falls under compute service. What's the Azure Virtual Machine? I'm very sure you must have been hearing about virtual machines. What exactly are virtual machines? So simply said, virtual machines are like your personal computers. However, these computers are not personal. This time around, they are stored on the cloud. They are big machines that can handle high level computing needs and computing processes. It's like having a computer in the cloud. You can use them to run apps and tools that require more computing power. If your machine learning model needs a lot of resources, like a powerful processor or extra memory, you don't need to always go out. Oh, this project is taking my computer is crashing. Now I need to buy a bigger computer. You decide to order for a bigger computer. Then the model runs for 48 hours. The computer dies. What do? Do you go to get another computer? Instead of doing that, why not use an Azure Virtual Machine? And then the virtual machine scales up as the need arises. Okay? So virtual machines are a great option for this kind of scenarios. They let you scale up your computing power quickly without needing expensive physical hardware. You don't need to go and get a new laptop. You can just use Azure Cloud to do that. Next, we have Azure App Service. I'm very sure we all have possibly typed onto our phones, okay, youtube.com. How do I type youtube.com and then youtube.com pops out? You've used websites. Most of us might have our portfolios. How did we host those portfolios? So you see that particular service that allows you to host websites. That's the same service in Azure. It's called App Service. So Azure App Service allows you to build and host web applications in the cloud. So if you're working on a project where users interact with your machine learning model, you have a machine learning model, you want to deploy your machine learning model, you want to make your machine learning project into an application that people can use, then App Service helps you to deploy that with ease. So it's a great way to host your models and let others access it. So if you have projects that you've maybe built, you have your VS Code, you've built your website, you can just easily connect it to Azure and deploy it on Azure App Service and send the link to anybody. That's what App Service offers. And lastly, in this category, we have the Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS. What's AKS? Azure Kubernetes Service helps you manage applications in containers which package up your software and its dependencies. Kubernetes allows all your dependencies. I have a software. My software depends on Pandas, and then I need Pandas version maybe 2.14. I also need NumPy, and then I need NumPy of this particular version, and then I need to install different types of libraries. If you send this particular software or particular application to another person who uses a new computer, they don't have all those installed, what happens? Your application does not run. So to mitigate this, you have the Azure Kubernetes Service, which serves more like it helps you to manage your applications in container. It puts the application in container, all the dependencies, everything that the app needs. It puts it in a container, package it together, Okay, so if you have machine learning models that you want to deploy across many servers, or you want to scale up to handle more users as the users come in, you use the Azure Kubernetes service. It simplifies managing these containers now, and then it's useful when your model needs to handle high traffic or multiple deployments because everything is packed together. Then moving on, we go right into AI and machine learning services, which is going to be the core of our presentation in this video, the Azure machine learning itself. The Azure machine learning is the main service you use to build, train, and deploy machine learning models. It provides everything you need to manage your ML workflow, from the data preparation to the training and also to testing those models. This service is where you spend a lot of time when you're working on any machine learning project. When you talk machine learning on Azure, then you use the Azure machine learning service. In this in our series, we're going to focus more on Azure machine learning, and immediately after the services, we're going to see the overview of the Azure machine learning. And lastly, we have the Azure Cognitive Service. When we talk about machine learning, yes, right? However, we would always want, after we build our models, we want to integrate AI services. We want our models to be able to learn themselves and then possibly take particular actions. Then we leverage on the cognitive services offered by Azure. Azure Cognitive Service provides pre-built AI models for things like recognizing images, translating text, or understanding speech, right? You can use these ready-made tools in your machine learning project straight forward, saving you time. For instance, if you want your model to understand text in multiple languages, or you want it to recognize emotions in pictures, is the image a smiling image? Is the person in the image frowning? You know, all these things are being done by the cognitive services offered by Azure. So cognitive services can do that without you needing to build those capabilities all from scratch. And this rounds up the different services offered by Azure. We're now going to deep dive into Azure machine learning, as that's the heart of our conversation over this video. Okay, what exactly is Azure machine learning? How can we build our machine learning models? How can we use them? How can we deploy them? All these are things that we're going to see in the following series. However, let's look at the overview of Azure machine learning. So Azure ML overview. Let's look at a problem. We look at the solution provided by Azure ML, and we look at how exactly has it made the problem or the situation better. So our problem here is a manufacturing company. The manufacturing company faces unexpected equipment failures. Just like that, equipment fail, and it leads to expensive downtime. What was done? Using Azure machine learning, they built predictive models to analyze sensor data from the machinery. Is a particular part of the equipment making particular sounds? Is it overheated? They added sensors, and then they analyzed the sensor data. And then what did they use? What happened? They were able to predict the potential failures before they happen in a very, very short time. They had no need to create models from scratch. They used Azure machine learning. They just pulled those models, added it on top, pulled the sensor data, impute the sensor data, and then there they are. Their solution is solved. What impact has this brought into the organization? This enabled the company to perform preventive maintenance. The moment our data, sensor data is being passed into the models, the results tells us how what exactly is happening, and then they are able to take preventive maintenance. It doesn't need oil. Oil is being used, saving time and reducing costs associated with unplanned downtime. Now, since we know how Azure ML can aid our businesses, can aid our work in a very short time, what exactly is it itself? Azure ML is a cloud-based platform stored on the cloud that helps streamline the creation, training and deployment, and also management of machine learning models. It provides a unified workspace for end-to-end machine learning workflows. What we mean is from data preparation to deploying that model and monitoring that model. Azure ML encompasses everything. So you do not necessarily need to write your machine learning project from scratch. You don't need to say, okay, import pandas, pd.read, CSV, and then use all those processes. Everything is encapsulated right there in. You can just drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. Azure ML also supports different frameworks, different Python frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, and also scikit-learn. It also integrates, also is compatible with R and then the .NET frameworks as well. So basically, all the programming languages that you might need is being supported by Azure ML. And then we have the ML Studio. Azure ML is the whole service itself. We have the ML Studio. The ML Studio is a browser-based service that provides no-code and code-first solutions. When we say low code means drag and drop interface. You are able to pick up regression, drag and drop regression, pick up import dataset, drag and drop. Now, the import dataset you just dragged, you just click on it and add a dataset to it. Now your dataset has been loaded. For my Python guys, you all are going to say, okay, pd.read underscore CSV or underscore Excel in brackets, put the folder path. All that is taken off. All you just need is drag and drop import dataset, click on it and select your dataset. Okay. The same happens with your regression models. Next, you pull your regression model and then you just have your lines, just connect them, just like you can see on the screen. You just connect them and then things work out. That's low code. And it also allows for code first solutions. If you prefer to code, it supports frameworks like Azure ML supports Jupyter Notebook. It supports command line interfaces, your CLIs. It can also be connected and integrated with your Visual Studio Code. So it allows you to also code. So when you work with deep learning projects, you might have to use code first solutions. So if you say you're not the low code kind of person, you still want to do some advanced coding, it also allows you to do code first solutions. To visually create, train, and manage models through a web UI. So that's what the ML Studio is. The ML Studio allows the Python SDK to seamlessly integrate with the natively supported Jupyter Notebooks for collaborative notes and coding. Data within the Azure Machine Learning Studio is simple to manage with intuitive data visualization and AI-assisted image or text labeling features. You are new to this, no worries. Everything is intuitive, and then there are always information on how to use words, what to be used. There's also AI assistance to ensure that you get all the assistance that you need. What are the benefits of Azure ML? With Azure ML, you have number one, scalability. It's easy to handle small or large tasks, from testing a model to running a complex machine learning on powerful servers. It's highly scalable. Number two, automation. It automates repetitive tasks like choosing the best model or tuning settings, saving you time and effort. All you have to just do is click submit. The moment you submit your pipeline, everything runs. It takes a few minutes and then you're there. Everything is automated for you. Real-time predictions. It allows your applications to make instant decisions such as recommending products or detecting fraud or any type of model that you must have built. And then we have integration with Azure ecosystem. Azure ML integrates with the Azure ecosystem. It's an Azure service, of course. It works well with other Azure tools for managing data and deploying models, and also possibly for monitoring their performances. And then we have cost efficiency. You only pay for what you use on Azure. And features like spot pricing helps lower costs for big projects. Just like your clusters. Your clusters are only powered on where you're actively using the clusters. When you're not using them, they are powered off. So you don't need to pay for what you do not use. You only pay for what you use. Security and compliance. Azure ML keeps your data safe and meets strict standards like the GDPR. The GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulation. And then this is essential for legal and industry compliance. So all these are benefits of Azure ML.
Well done on completing today's class. Let's quickly recap the key points we've covered. We explored Azure Machine Learning and its role in cloud computing. We discussed cloud computing benefits such as scalability, cost effectiveness, alongside challenges like cost management and downtime risks. We then focus on Azure, its global infrastructure, and how it supports machine learning services. Azure ML provides an accessible platform for managing the entire machine learning workflow, from data preparation to model deployment, with support for frameworks like TensorFlow and scikit-learn. A memorable takeaway from today's session is how Azure ML can streamline the machine learning process, making it easier to build, train, and deploy models.